Hi there, welcome to ILM Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Libra energy. And for this round of 12 zodiac sign readings, we are going to do this 10 card spread. And we're going to get out an oracle card to see what it wants to add to the story. And at the end, we're going to ask what could be a possible outcome for people, depending on if they harness a more high vibrational Libra energy or a more worldly or shadowy Libra energy. We've all got lessons to learn in life, we have our worldly nature, our shadowy nature, which can be more of our fear, our insecurity, our pride, our ego, our lust, our greed, our self-centered, lazy nature, petty, envious, jealous, the list goes on, right? And some people have learned lessons in life to detach because they've learned lessons that they don't get what they want in life and that they need to grow up. And some people have learned more of those lessons than other people. You might find some people in your life that you feel are kind of more immature or bossy or controlling. Those people in turn might know some people in their life that they feel are kind of more immature and bossy and controlling. It's everybody, for everybody it's relative, right? But high vibe people are motivated by truth and love. We can all have learned different lessons than other people, but are we really building our life and getting in relationships because motivated and inspired by truth and love? And love is supposed to be where you treat other people the way you like to be treated. You've learned that truth, that it shouldn't be where I think it's more about me. And, you've learned that lesson. And you've learned to love yourself, not to get in relationships because I want someone to love me, because I haven't learned to love me, And we all have our ideas. Libra energy is represented by the scales of justice. We all have our ideas of what we think is just and fair. When we were 15 years old and we lived our life and viewed life a certain way and treated people certain ways, that's where we were in our emotional maturity level, and we thought it was just and fair, or we probably wouldn't have done it, And, it's just to see the truth of where people are at in their life, what they think is just and fair, what drives and motivates them. So in that regard, we all tap into Libra energy. What people who are a Libra sun sign or have a lot of Libra in their chart could be dealing with could be things that we all kind of deal with to a certain degree. And then, are we more motivated by truth and love or not? You could be a Libra sun sign, dealing with a Libra sun sign, just dealing with other people in the world, and trying to get clear about what your truth is, what their truth is, what you think is just and fair, what they think is just and fair. Do you harness high vibe Libra energy and some other people don't, and they harness some more worldly, shadowy Libra energy? So we're going to kind of talk about all that. The Oracle card, Life Force Energy. It is time to engage in activities that rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Our Life Force Energy, the main reason for the reading, I view it as being this card, which is the Ten of Wands. The 9s and the 10s talk about that we've gotten close to the end of a cycle. We've lived our life a certain way, had a way of viewing life, a way of living life, and then it kind of becomes overwhelming because we've kind of learned all these lessons along the way, and it's kind of our intuition telling us it's time to move forward. We've learned these lessons. It's time to take the lessons that we've learned, to see the truth, because the truth sets us free. The King of Swords I view as Libra energy. That it's time for me to detach from an old way of viewing life. And it could have been, at every stage of our life, we've got lessons to learn. But if we keep persisting in a certain way of life, it could be because we're kind of indulging either our more defensive nature to change, a way that we view as just and fair that we don't want to change, or we drop the burden and we face our fears to see the truth that it's time to change. It's time to complete an old cycle and kind of look at life differently and come out with this truth. We drop the Ten of Swords, we come out with the Ace of Swords. I have worked through all these fears, all these insecurities, all these ways that I thought this way I was living life was what was the truth. And it was the truth for that phase of life. But now It's time to be inspired to change. The only thing is, there's some people in the world that I refuse to change. I have a way of viewing life. I am not going to look at life any differently. Some people like to live air sign energy. Oh, Libra is air sign energy. Some people like to live more from their mind than their heart. You know, we're emotionally complex human beings. And we have the fire energy can represent our more creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature. And some people are like, nope, I'm not doing that. That's confusing. I don't want to listen to my intuition. I don't want to go into unknown territory where I haven't been before. I don't care if it's overwhelming. I will keep backstabbing and betraying myself. I will keep moving forward being overwhelmed because maybe with the Three of Swords, haven't still worked through, which is also Libra energy, I haven't worked through some past pain and heartbreak. And we'll keep repeating a pattern and a way of living life and viewing life until the truth sets us free. But some people keep betraying the truth. No. In our free will, if there's something we don't want to see about ourselves, again, shadowy Ten of Wands is Sagittarius energy, which can be we indulge living more from our mind than our heart, being bossy and controlling, which is like shadowy King of Swords energy, or being immature. There's these things I want to go indulge in. I think those things are the truth. Those things will make me happy. And until they're willing to see the truth, they're going to keep pursuing those things that drive and motivate them. Even if it keeps not working. It's like people who keep repeating an old pattern over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome. If they need to grow, heal, or mature, they don't want to see the truth of it. If they keep getting in relationships with people who got their own issues and they keep thinking those people will change or they can change them, keeps not working, I'll go find another one that has those certain traits, qualities, or characteristics, and I'll try to change them. Some people keep backstabbing themselves. Some people keep getting backstabbed. When are we going to see the truth? Where do I need to heal and grow and mature myself? Am I willing? High vibe Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. When am I going to wrap my brain around this game of life? That maybe I'm not balanced within myself, and until I get balanced and quit indulging poor behavior in myself and others, this is going to keep happening. I need to take inspired action about my own pain and heartbreak or self-limiting beliefs or liking to live more from my mind than my heart or my self-protective nature. If I want things to be different, I have to quit getting in relationships with other people. If I'm motivated and inspired by love, but I keep getting in relationships with people who are immature or don't want to connect in with their emotions, are selfish or immature, when am I going to quit going out with people like that, right? So, what's going on in Libra energy? Everybody would like to have these new beginnings. Why? Because we'd like, we're going to go invest in whatever we think will help us feel more balanced kind of within ourselves. The Temperance card also with the 2 cups, it's like I'm trying to balance out my emotions or about past pain and heartbreak. But did we see the truth? Did we realize love is the answer? Growing up and maturing ourselves, being inspired to deal with our past pain and heartbreak and our self-limiting beliefs and our immature nature and our prideful nature, and offering truth and love, because high vibe, the pentacle, means with the Virgo energy being in the center of the reading, Virgo energy represents that part of ourself that goes to look at those things we either weren't seeing the truth of because we had lessons learned in life, or things we didn't want to look at that we wanted to keep hidden in the dark. Are we willing? And Virgo is also earth sign energy. It requires work and effort. Are we willing to invest in work and effort? Are we inspired to get more balance within ourselves? You have to even be inspired to be more balanced. If you're someone who likes to indulge yourself in your more fear, insecurity, pride, ego, lust, greed, bossy, controlling nature, well, then you don't have any inspiration to do it. You're going to keep investing in hiding that you are more immature and that relationships end because people feel heartbroken that you're not more balanced. And some people backstab and betray people because they're really more about themselves, you know? High vibe people are inspired because they're overwhelmed. Things hadn't worked out the way they wanted. They want to get to the truth. So they invest time, energy, and effort because they're inspired to work through their fears and insecurities. The moon can talk about our fears, but things that we're not seeing clearly, because the opposite of the moon would be the sun. And deal with those things that they maybe keep hidden beneath the surface, which is the devil. And the devil is how our more worldly nature, codependent nature, immature, lustful, greedy, whatever nature, that we didn't want to see the truth of, and how it manipulates us, because the devil is about all these things that manipulate us. And we also can get in relationships with people who, they've got their own issues that they don't deal with. And we can all get in relationships because we're at a certain phase of life and we have these lessons to learn. And at any stage of life, we have some fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs that, we can't get rid of our shadow nature. It's part of being a human being. But are we inspired to see the truth of them? Because, it's kind of like if you were to look at life as like a video game. I conquered the video game of life at age 15. I overcame certain obstacles. I believed in myself when I felt I was ready to face my fears and believe in my dreams and the Six of Swords. I have a dream, Aquarius energy. I'm going to stop living life like a 15-year-old because it was great when I probably got in it because that's how I viewed life. But then as time went by, I learned some lessons and, can't say a 15-year-old forever. I have hopes and dreams of getting the justice that I want in the world, and I want to grow and mature myself and feel proud of myself. And I got to quit acting like a 15-year-old, even though it's scary, and I have to stand up for myself and what I believe in, and I might have to tell some people in my life, like, I'm not going to live life like a 15-year-old anymore. And I just don't look at life the same. It was great when I lived my life like that, but I have other aspirations, and it's time for me to detach from this old way of living life. And if some people in our life, the Six of Swords, which is like three swords together, there could have been people that I wanted in my life, but I kind of realized maybe I might have worked through some of my past pain and heartbreak and my more immature ways of viewing life, that I view life differently now, and I maybe feel more stable and balanced within myself, and I'm ready to move forward in life differently. Some of the people in my life are in that same energy, and they're going to move forward with me in that way. Some of the people in my life, they want to keep, because we all move forward and are ready to face our fears and believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams to move forward in life differently. So some people aren't going to move forward with us, and we have to deal with the truth of that because the truth sets us free. And it can be very overwhelming and difficult because just like we had to do that at age 15, and I think we repeat this process throughout our life, 45, 55, 65, we live life at a certain phase of life, we view life a certain way. And when we keep living life at a certain phase of life, it might be more out of heartbreak and fear of change. And it could make us keep living life a certain way and viewing life a certain way and hanging out with certain people just because we're overwhelmed about speaking our truth, standing up for what we believe in, and being high vibe energy. And high vibe Virgo is being more independent in the world. That I have to learn to love myself, deal with my own fears and insecurities and immature nature and codependent nature and selfish, bossy, whatever nature. If I don't want to keep living my life like that, I have to be willing to stand up for my truth. And there's some people in the world at whatever phase of life and age of life they are, that they're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Some people have people in their life that, they really want, which could be their friend group, could be their original family group, that like, if those people don't move forward and view life differently, then I'm not going to move forward in life and do life differently. You have to be willing to be more independent, to live your truth. And some people may never be ready to do that. Some people won't stand up and speak the truth to themselves, because the truth sets us free, but we can stay in denial of the truth, ignore the truth, hide the truth. Nope. And some people, their truth is they're just still caught up in the world, because the devil can represent all these things of the world, and that could be the things that really drive and motivate them. They might try to hide that maybe they're more motivated and inspired by the world, that's their truth, and that's what they think is just and fair. I want to invest. I'm caught up in the illusion of the world. I either really want to go indulge in certain things because I think that's living the dream, or I want to make life more about me. And if I can make other people make life more about me and I'm kind of indulged, I don't really care if those people are overwhelmed, because it's really just more about me being indulged. That's my idea of the dream life. I am sure I will be happy if everybody makes their life more about me. And I could be very bossy and controlling. And if people don't make their life more about me, well, then I'm going to backstab and betray them, because I make my life more about me. And then, that would be people that are very egotistical and full of themselves and still think the universe should be all about them. They kind of have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, right? When you are going to work with other people, you are supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And some people create a good illusion. They hide the truth that they really are more about themselves. And they try to create an illusion. Oh no, I'm not more about me. I don't think it should be more about me. I'm not, bossy or controlling or prideful or egotistical. And some people create a really good illusion that they are a more just and fair and stable and grounded person. But if they get in relationships with people who are more inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and treating each other the way you like to be treated, people initially can get in a relationship with people because they buy into the illusion of who they are, and they don't realize that they're hiding beneath the surface, that they're kind of more materialistically driven, more self-driven, more immature, or just have a lot of things that overwhelm them, or heartbreak and issues from their past that they don't deal with. And then you're in a more mismatched relationship. One person has their own fears and insecurities, but they work through them. Virgo energy is about taking slow, steady steps. I'm going to work through some of my fears and insecurities kind of on a regular basis. Or at least maybe every 5 years, or at least every 10 years, I kind of open up my bag of crap I've been dragging behind me, and I'm going to look at it, and Virgo energy represented here that we all can tap into. It's not going in there with an axe and a gun. I got to kill everything. It's offering light and love to it. Offering love and compassion and forgiveness to myself and other people for the fears and the insecurities we have, and these things that we had hidden beneath the surface that we maybe didn't even know we needed to deal with, and other people still don't know they need to deal with. And it's just seeing the truth of it. And then that sets us free. The Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords, which is all this mental conflict. I can have some fears and insecurities that I drag with me and some self-limiting beliefs, but eventually, to try to keep moving forward, bringing a dream into reality, I realize it's really hard, right, with the Ten of Wands. So it's like, why is it so hard to do this? So it's like, maybe I need to look at some of this shit I've been dragging with me. And then they go and they look at that stuff and they offer love and compassion and forgiveness to it. Am I moving forward aligned with my truth, or am I not? Did I get caught up moving forward in something that's not really aligned with my truth? Am I moving forward with people who maybe their truth is different than my truth, but because I'm attracted to them and I could have love for them and I really want this to work, I keep trying to bring them with me, but our truth is different and what we think is just and fair is different. Are we motivated and inspired to heal and grow and mature ourselves, and do we have the same dream, And periodically, people do that in kind of these bite-sized pieces to free themselves from things that manipulate them. But some people have gone a long time not dealing with those things. Nope, I don't have to deal with it. Nope, I have an idea. I do have mental conflict. I do have these things that overwhelm me and things from my past. I have an idea. We can always choose to keep acting more from our pride and ego. I know best. I have an idea. Pride comes before the fall. I still don't have to deal with that stuff. And, it's kind of sabotaging themselves, because sometimes some people, they get in relationships with people. Other people are trying to bring a dream into reality. If they're motivated, more inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness, and some other people aren't, or they have these issues that make them defensive and fearful of being backstabbed, or they don't believe in love, don't trust other people. They kind of wanted to keep moving forward in the relationship, but kind of still having this illusion about what it means to be in a relationship, that I don't have to deal with those things. I can just indulge myself in a relationship. And thinking that people are going to want to keep moving forward with you in a relationship, but the way we view life and what we think is just and fair, and are we living more from our mind than our heart? We're kind of, having intimacy with people in a relationship, like that's love. And other people are like, I do think, there can be attraction there, is what the devil talks about, but I don't know if it's truth and love that drives and motivates you, or if it makes logical, practical sense and you're attracted to me, but are you only going to have sex with me? Are we ever going to do love? Is this relationship going to grow and mature itself? Are you going to work through some of these issues that manipulate you? High vibe energy is being free to live your authentic life, being free of those things that manipulate you, to be more balanced within yourself. Are you ever going to get more balanced within yourself? Or are you always kind of tipped out of balance, hiding from these issues that manipulate you or make you defensive or make you more self-focused or materialistic focused? Have you seen the truth? That love is what makes it all worthwhile. But for some people, again, that is not their truth. Well, I'm just kind of seeing this card here now. And it's like, was that always turned upside down? We can move forward in friendships and relationships and workplaces for a long time. And there's a lot of things to work through, and everybody to a degree might be willing to compromise and work on those things to balance things out, because they have this dream they want to bring into reality. And, so everybody to some degree is willing to do maybe some of that work to kind of maintain balance. Libra, again, both cards of Libra can be about trying to maintain balance. The Temperance card is about trying to maintain balance. So everybody can do some of this work to maintain balance in a relationship and maintain balance within themselves. But for some people, it really is really hard. Either because they're moving forward in something that isn't aligned with their truth, but because they want to look like they've moved on. They want these things of the world. They want to look victorious and successful. because again, Aquarius energy is looking like a shining star in the world. We all have these dreams. We want to be in relationships. We want to look like we have what some other people have in the world, right? We want to be successful and have stability and security in our life. For the people where it's really not their truth and they're moving forward with people when it's really not their truth, eventually what's hidden comes out. You can't hide the truth forever that, sorry, your truth really isn't my truth. And we can all want to stay in denial and we can all want to hope for the best. Like, oh no, I'm sure this will work out. No, I'm sure this will be okay. But if we're in a more mismatched relationship, the high vibe people do listen more to their intuition and are more connected in with their intuition. Other people might be really disconnected from their more emotionally intuitive nature and try to do more what seems to them logical and practical. But if they get in relationships where it's mismatched and the other person is someone who is invested, the moon is Pisces energy, which is emotional water sign energy, they have learned these lessons in life to listen to their intuition about when they feel manipulated or when they're taking action more out of fear, insecurity, or pride, or ego, or lust, or greed, or when they think other people are in relationship with them for those reasons. And everybody can be attracted to each other, so everybody can be hoping for the best. Temperance card is about being patient. Oh, I'm sure this will all, we'll all get on the same page eventually. We might not initially be on the same page, but I'm sure as time goes by, we'll kind of, I might be this type of person, more motivated and inspired by love. Another person might be more fearful. And we're hoping over time that, we'll come to a place of balance, is what the Temperance card talks about. Because we want this dream to come into reality. And high vibe people could put a lot of work and effort into trying to get things to be more balanced and more just and fair, and where people helping other people feel more balanced within themselves so that this dream can come into reality. The thing is, we can offer people truth and love and encouragement, and that can help them kind of move forward with us in a way, but until they really incorporate that where it's really a part of them, it's just like we've all lived our life and we've all been younger where people were offering us love and encouragement. And why don't you believe in yourself? And, why do you seem to have this mental conflict? And why do you seem to have these fears and these insecurities? And, and we can try to move forward with those people also. And we did when we were in friendship groups or romantic relationships. But, until we do that work within ourselves, we can try to move forward with people, and we can appreciate that they're being maybe a just and fair and loving person in our life, but we might eventually reject those friends, or just like we could add family and loved ones in our life, until sometimes we got to learn lessons the hard way. And we have either these fears or we think we don't have to put in that work and effort. Like, oh no, I know how to handle this. I'm really smart, and I'm going to do it this way, and I'm sure it'll all work out okay. And again, pride comes before the fall. And we have to humble ourselves to admit that maybe I had some lessons learned. Maybe there were some things I didn't learn about life. We could have even had people in our life telling us, this seems like a really mismatched workplace, friendship, relationship for you. But oh no, boy, I'm attracted to this person, or I want this dream to come into reality, or I don't want it to end, And we've all got to learn lessons about being more independent and stable and grounded within ourselves. And so we'll go through some life experiences that probably didn't work out the way we wanted. And all of it was part of the journey to to get us to do this work within ourselves. Do I love myself? Do I value myself? High Vibe Virgo is, do I love and believe in myself and appreciate myself? Appreciate what I bring to the table, or do I have these unresolved issues from my past that kind of made me feel backstabbed and betrayed and not worthy, and like maybe I don't deserve to be treated in a just and fair way? And maybe I also have these illusions about love. The Devil card looks just like the Lover's card, except these people have chains and shackles on, you know? And we learn over time that I can offer people peace and love and joy, but stand in my truth. And if they kind of have a shadowy way of viewing relationships, or they still are manipulated by things within themselves, outside themselves, the world, lust, greed, pride, ego, immaturity, I'm going to keep my distance from them, because I've already been there and done that. And even though I might be attracted to them, I've already learned that if I get in a mismatched relationship, this isn't going to turn out the way I want anyway. Until they do this work within themselves to free themselves and look at life from a higher perspective, get out of being more caught up in the illusion, have worked through their mental conflict and their past pain and heartbreak and their more immature nature, and have kind of have hope and faith and belief in more than being about themselves and these things of the world, or thinking those things are the answer to them being happy, and have seen the truth that it's about, I have to work through those things to look at life from a higher perspective. I need to get more balance within myself, stand up for what I believe in. And if that's love, then we're on the same page. We're done being overwhelmed, and we're moving forward with people who have learned some of the same lessons we've learned, who have closed out an old chapter of a way of viewing life, because we've been illuminated to the truth. And then this could be something that people have overcome, that they used to harness in a more shadowy way. And as they move forward in life, what some people who are still kind of repeating a phase of life, and you're going to the next level of the video game to overcome new obstacles, the devil's always going to be there. Just like playing a video game and you work your way up the video game levels, there's going to be new obstacles and challenges, and it's going to bring up our layers and layers of our shadowy, fearful, whatever nature, and it's all to help us deal with those things, to keep growing to our full potential, to keep getting more, going through these life experiences, to getting more and more clear about what our truth is. And high vibe people are willing to go into unknown territory. I don't want to repeat this old pattern. I don't want to keep living a life of illusion. I don't want to keep staying in my fear and my insecurity and my heartbreak. I don't want to be in relationships letting the world, my own issues manipulate me, other people in my life manipulate me, that I don't feel are being just and fair and truthful and honest and loving. And I've learned to do this work within myself, to love and believe in myself, to get more balance within myself, to speak my truth. And I have completed a cycle, and I am moving forward, and I'm going to invest in going into unknown territory. And I am going to face my fears of what comes up. But I've learned these lessons in life, and I'm going to take these lessons that I've learned as I move forward and listen to my intuition about who seems to have learned some of those same lessons. Those people I will move forward with, and the people who haven't, I will keep my distance from, because I don't want to repeat that old pattern. So, while you're doing that, other people haven't been enlightened to looking at life the way you do. People at age 15 can't understand why people at age 25 seem more mature, not as immature, aren't acting in certain ways, because that's the reality that the 15-year-olds are living in. And the same thing happens when we're older in life. And then there are some people in the world, their whole life is an illusion. I do live more from my mind than my heart. It's all a mental construct. I try to create this illusion in the world about the type of person I am. I could, shadowy Libra can be where people, it's like our public politician persona. I'm going to go out in the world because the kings can represent how we go present ourselves in the world and how we go take action in the world. I do have these fears or these insecurities. I am more materialistic, or I am more about myself and egotistical, self-centered. That's my truth. Whatever their truth is that they don't want people to know, they just try to go out in the world trying to present themselves as being a more balanced person, but they're really tipped out of balance. They're either enabling other people in their poor behavior because they haven't learned that lesson. They're still trying to change other people, or they are kind of more about themselves, a little more bossy and controlling. And since they indulge and view life a certain way, they think other people should view life that way. And it's all creating an illusion. And so some of those people could think that you're creating an illusion. You're just creating a better illusion than they are. Because some people do think that everybody just gets in relationships because out of their fear, their insecurity, their codependency, or their want for these things of the world, and more motivated and inspired by like self-centeredness and lust or greed or something, right? But that's not the truth. But if that's how they view life, then they think other people view life that way. And that's why you could have gotten drawn and attracted to some people, because they have a very good false mask, or they were hiding their truth about what they really think is just and fair in a relationship. And you didn't know that. And since you could be more inspired by hope and faith and belief in love and believe in the dream, they create the illusion they are too, but that's really not their truth. And it's not love that drives and motivates them. So long as it's good for their ego and their image, yeah, I'll be in a relationship with you. I'll stay here. I'll work on this. But I'm hiding that if someone else has more status, more image, more money, more willing to indulge me where I don't have to maintain balance within myself, because it can be really overwhelming for me to maintain balance within myself in order to maintain balance in this relationship, because the truth is I am out of balance. I'm fearful, I'm insecure, I'm prideful, I'm bossy, I'm controlling, I'm more about me, I'm more immature, you know? And it gets overwhelming for them to keep moving forward, creating this illusion. And eventually the people in their life kind of are wondering, why is it so hard to bring this dream into reality? Seems like I could be putting a lot of work and effort into it, and I could start to feel that the other person is going along with it so long as it's good for ego and image or status, or they're being indulged, but they're really not inspired by love. And so then I feel heartbroken. And it's like, wait a minute, why are you in it? Is it more for the ego and the image and to get the justice you deserve in the world? Is it more about creating this illusion, but it's not really inspired by love? And that's when some high vibe people can decide to get out of a relationship. And you might have been harnessing this energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, and it was kind of manipulating you before and you didn't realize it. Well, you've worked through it, and it no longer manipulates you that way. And what people don't know about you is you're harnessing this energy in a more high vibrational way. And that's what they don't get. Other people can see you moving forward. You're not taking action more out of pride and ego and immaturity and lust and greed, and they don't understand why, because they are. Or being bossy and controlling, or just doing things to look like a shining star or something, right? The Eight of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy. What some people, and that's what some people don't get. How do some people work through their past pain and heartbreak and feeling overwhelmed and having all these things within them and the world and people in their life? How do they overcome all those things making them feel overwhelmed? And it's because the high vibe people are inspired to put in the work and effort to see through the illusion. And I am willing to stand up and speak my truth and stand up for what I believe in. And it could have taken a lot of life lessons and a lot of painful life experiences for me to be willing to do that. But that could have been all part of the journey, was to get some people to work through these issues within themselves, to love and believe in themselves and wrap their brain around this game of life. That if I don't, I'm going to keep, there's always going to be people in the world that will be happy to be in a relationship with me if I'm in my fear, my insecurity, my immature nature, my lustful, greedy nature, because they are too. And if I have a dream to get in a just and fair and balanced relationship, I saw the truth. It starts within me. And I need to detach and work through these things that manipulate me within myself and outside of myself. And I need to free myself from those things and be willing to stand up for what I believe in. And it's justice and fairness and truth and love. And I did put in the work and effort. And, you know, more shadowy Virgo energy. I was more caught up in the world. I was caught up more in the illusion. I was more codependent. I had some heartbreak, self-limiting beliefs that I hadn't dealt with. And that's why, you know, to a degree, I could have gotten in relationships with people. We were just at the kind of the same way of viewing life at one point, to a certain degree, just caught up in the illusion of the world. Weren't clear about our truth. We come together with other people to help us get more clear about our truth. Some people, you know, are always stay in more codependent energy. I just want to move forward with people, and I never want to speak my truth. I might have other people in my life I should speak my truth to and be more independent of, but I'm not willing to do it. Or I more want to look like a shining star in the world. And I just think if you're not doing it based on truth and love and justice and fairness, is probably not going to work out the way we think. And we need to see where we need to heal and grow and mature. We need to see the truth about people we could be drawn and attracted to. Why are we drawn and attracted to them? And sometimes it can be because they could subconsciously kind of remind us of people in our life who were hurtful or unkind or weren't as just and fair with us as we wanted, and we're still kind of working through that. So then we can kind of be drawn and attracted to people who have some of those same traits and characteristics. It keeps probably not working out. And at what point am I going to deal with those things that I kind of kept buried in my subconscious, this past pain and heartbreak? And when am I going to learn to love myself and give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me, and quit feeling overwhelmed, quit feeling heartbroken, and just deal with the truth that everybody has their issues. It affected how they acted with me. I'm no longer going to take it personally. I am going to see the truth of where I also contributed to things not working out, and I need to heal and grow and mature myself, but I can only take responsibility for myself. And I'm not going to keep feeling overwhelmed and backstabbed. I'm going to offer love and compassion and forgiveness to myself and other people to free myself. And I am going to take responsibility for being a more emotionally mature, just and fair, loving person. And the people who aren't doing that also are people I'm going to distance myself from, wish them peace, and I'm going to move on. And as I move forward and I get to know other people, I'm going to listen to my intuition about what drives and motivates them, what their dreams are. I don't want to repeat some old patterns. And I no longer am willing to put in work and effort into things that are unhealthy, codependent, backstabbing, more about the illusion in the world of ego and image or whatever. If it's not based on truth and love, I am not going to be working with people that want me to work with them, making my life about that. I've been illuminated to the truth. Love is what makes it all worthwhile. Being in workplaces, friendships, and relationships with people hiding that it's kind of toxic, controlling, manipulative, egotistical, backstabbing, overwhelming. I got one life to live. And as long as I keep investing my time, energy, and effort into that, I'm not investing in what is aligned with my truth. And I am going to go have this new beginning to face my fears of going into unknown territory. I'm going to invest in maintaining balance within myself. 2 Sagittarius cards, being inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness. And I'm going to do this inner work to love and believe in myself and believe in my dreams. And no matter if it's overwhelming, I'm going to keep moving forward to drop the burden and have this brand new beginning to get the justice I deserve. And I think as we work in high vibe energy, in truth and love, I've spoken my truth and love to people in my life. If they don't want to move forward with me in this way, then I'm not going to stay overwhelmed and feeling backstabbed. Their truth is different than my truth. Their dream is different than my dream. What they think is just and fair is different than what I think is just and fair. My dream can't come into reality with them anyway. So I see the truth of it, and I'm no longer going to put work and effort with those people because I've been illuminated to the truth. And they're going to go work with people that they think are more on the same page as them, motivated and inspired by what they're motivated by, or if they like to be indulged in their ego, or if they're more materialistic or self-indulgent or make their life more about the world, then go knock your socks off. High vibe people have completed a cycle. And some of the people who wanted to move forward with you, but they wanted you to hide that they were toxic or bossy or controlling or selfish or greedy or immature. Now, they could be overwhelmed because they weren't willing to speak the truth. And now some of those people are hiding that they ended relationships with people who were just and fair and loving because they had some growing up and maturing to do. And they could have indulged their more self-defensive, self-protective energy instead of working through it, and you left. Or they had an idea to try to be bossy and controlling in a relationship, and you left. They were immature and prideful and egotistical, and you left. They were more about money and materialism and status and image or something, and you left. And then some of those, because you're either being truthful and honest and just and fair in a relationship, or you want to not do that and hide from justice and being just and fair, or speaking your truth to whoever you need to speak your truth to. And they thought they could hide and that they could manipulate people to get what they wanted. And some people saw the truth of it. I don't think you're being truthful and honest, and some of those people are not being truthful and honest with the next people they get in relationship with. And the next people are like, you know what, I think I'm leaving because I think you're hiding. You're not who you say you are. You present yourself as being a certain type of person, but I don't really think it's love that drives and motivates you. It's getting in a relationship because of your fear, your insecurity of being single, being in a relationship because you're overwhelmed, being in a relationship because you want to have sex, being in a relationship because you're heartbroken, being in a relationship because you want to look like you moved on. I don't want to be in a relationship with anyone for any of those reasons. If it's not based on truth and love, then go find someone else. And that's what some of those people are going to go do, because they are not willing to put in the work and effort to work through their own these things that manipulate them. So it will keep manipulating them, and they'll just try to balance out their emotions that they're hiding, that there's hiding basically what drives and motivates them, why they take the action that they take. High vibe Virgo is about being kind of self-aware of why you do what you do. And some people just don't even want to see the truth within themselves. If they do have these shadowy traits and characteristics, they don't want to acknowledge the truth of it to themselves, and they don't want other people to see the truth of it. If they have other people in their life who they could love that manipulate and control them, they don't want to see the truth of it, and they don't want to become independent of them. Our life force energy is like our fire sign energy. There can be people we can be attracted to that we'd like to have justice with, but if those people aren't on the same page as me, I am going to channel my life force energy into getting the justice I deserve. And I'm going to put in this work and effort to have this new beginning. If I'm not in a romantic relationship, because the fire energy can be sexual energy, but that energy is life force energy. Needless, you can give birth to babies with it, right? I'm going to channel that into these other areas of my life until I think I meet someone who seems to be on the same page as me. Otherwise, I can channel my life force energy into all these other things that are part of my dream. Stability, security, just, fair, balanced, loving relationships, moving forward with people who I find just and fair, who are inspiring, who are loving. I might not be in a romantic relationship, but that isn't the end all be all. But for some people it is, because it's part of maintaining this illusion. And some people feel like it says something about their worth and value. High vibe Virgo is knowing your worth and value. I'm not going to get in a relationship because I want to project this certain image. I'm not going to get in a relationship just because I want to have sex. Blah, blah, blah. Because then I get trapped, because we're emotionally complex human beings. I don't want to get trapped in something that I shouldn't get trapped in, or create an illusion that something's wonderful when it's not. But for some people, that is the most important thing. I have to look like I'm the shining star, and look who I'm in a relationship with, and I have justice in the world. Part of it could be just because they want to backstab other people. I want those other people who saw the truth of me and moved on, I want them to feel backstabbed, so I'm going to go get in a relationship with someone else. Yay. And eventually the other people realize that they weren't in the relationship for the right reason, and those people don't want to work with them anymore either. When we have ill intent, it's probably not going to work out. Even when we got lessons learned, it's probably not going to work out the way we want. Because we have lessons to learn in life, and some people refuse to learn lessons. Other people are willing to admit, maybe I got some lessons to learn. I should look at life differently, put things in perspective, have hope and faith and belief in myself, get more balance within myself. Maybe I'm out of balance, indulging, again, poor behavior in myself or others. And if I don't want that, then I need to stand up for my truth. And some people are willing to do that, and some people aren't. Some people just aren't there yet. What's coming up for the high vibe people that they don't see coming? The Six of Cups. Why? Because of the Ace of Pentacles. The Six of Cups is Scorpio energy, and the Six of Cups can talk about the sixes can talk about balance. You've reconciled yourself with the past, and you're also emotionally balanced within yourself. We have our more emotionally intuitive, loving, hopeful, believing nature. We also have our more shadow nature that wants us to live more from our mind than our heart, and our defensive nature. And we do this work within ourselves to maintain balance. I do have my more shadowy nature. It exists within all of us. But I also have my more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And I am going to do this work to maintain balance within myself, so that the action that I take is more driven by truth and love to get these things that I want in the world, because I have learned that if I plant bad seeds and take action more out of fear and insecurity or less greed, codependency, it's not going to work out the way I want anyway. And if I get in relationships with people who are in that energy, and I think and hoping one day they'll change, if they're I have a dream I want to bring into reality, I need to go find the people that are already on the same page as me. And those are the people I need to invest in. So as we do this work within ourselves, we get more balance. Why? Because we were willing to do this work within ourselves. To get more balance, to love ourselves, to temper our fearful ego nature, our lust, our greed, and to keep maintaining balance within ourselves. And because we do that, we close out an old chapter, and that's if life's about learning lessons, then the next lesson has to come into reality. And we move forward facing our fears. And as we move forward, stepping out of our comfort zone, not investing our time, energy, and effort into people and being in more involved relationships with them than social acquaintances, maybe, you know, we meet other people who've learned some of these same lessons that they've been waiting for other people to get out of this. And just like you're moving forward, you'll be looking for other people who've learned those lessons, who are ready to move forward in this new way. There are going to be, the Six of Cups can be people from your past. There's going to be people from your past. The Six of Cups can be people, currently that you're working with in that more hopeful, believing nature. And there's going to be people that you meet that are in this energy. And high vibe Scorpio is, I want deep, meaningful relationships where people deal with their fears and insecurities and look at life from a higher perspective, have learned to be more balanced within themselves, to be more balanced in a relationship, and to treat other people the way they like to be treated. Then we can let, the Six of Cups, it kind of looks like children. We can let our more hopeful, believing, loving inner child nature out to play with them, because we don't fear that they're going to backstab and betray us, because they're really just more immature and weren't really motivated by love anyway. We want to be in relationships with people that are motivated and inspired by love, to work together with people cooperatively who aren't more about themselves or like to be more bossy or controlling or more about themselves, And I think as people do this, you will be more balanced within yourself, and you're offering truth and love to people and to work together with them authentically in a just and fair and balanced way, that there's going to be other people who want to work together with you. And you're going to have these new beginnings, getting the justice you deserve, because you were willing to learn the lesson and detach from an old way of viewing life. What's coming up for people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Libra energy that they might not see coming up? Okay. We have a card not showing itself, and the reason it came out is because of the Empress energy. The Empress energy is Libra-Taurus energy, and Taurus energy has to do with our philosophy of life. And Taurus is fixed sign energy. Virgo is more mutable sign energy. It's kind of like in our earth sign energy. In our Capricorn energy, we're bold and brave enough to get into something new. Then in our Taurus energy, we put work and effort into something. And then as we go through situations in our life, if we're willing to learn lessons in life, our Virgo energy is that aspect again that kind of goes within to see the things that we were meant to learn, and are we willing to take the things that we've learned and incorporate them into our philosophy of life. And then we move forward with that truth that we maybe didn't know before. We grow, we heal, we mature ourselves, and also that we're supposed to put in work and effort to work through these things. And then, that's how people move from being like a 15-year-old to more like an 18-year-old to a 21-year-old to a 25-year-old, etc. But some people, in their Libra-Taurus philosophy of life, it is either more about them, or they think it's just and fair for them. A way of viewing life and relationships is, well, I think it's just and fair for me to have these issues or be in these ways. I just have an idea. I'll go find someone who's loving. And it's kind of looking to those, and either they just think that's just and fair. Maybe some people are hiding, they're kind of full of themselves, or because they could have these things of the world, because the devil represents these things of the world. I have money, I have status, I have image, I'm attractive, I'm charming, I have a certain way of being in the world, They look like they kind of could have justice in the world, right? I have these things that people of the world could want, male or female. And because of that, I think people should love me. And people should want to stay in a relationship with me because of those certain traits, qualities, characteristics, or assets that I have. And they also could think, that it's just and fair for them to be more shadowy and to try to create an illusion they're more motivated by love to get a person who harnesses this energy in a high vibe way, high vibe Libra Taurus, to get in a relationship with them even though they harness this energy in a shadowy Libra Taurus energy. And they think they can just create an illusion. Oh no, I'm motivated by love. I'm not selfish. I'm not bossy. I'm not immature. I'm not in it just for the image or the sex. I'm motivated by love. But eventually the high vibe people, because they do listen to their intuition, they see the truth and they move away. And then they're overwhelmed. And they don't understand why people don't want to stay in a relationship with them. It's like because you don't work together and invest in people in a deep, meaningful relationship. In your self-protective, self-defensive, or full of yourself nature, you think you don't have to really do love. But shadowy Scorpio is a more superficial and shallow relationship. More for the status and the ego and the image and the fear and the insecurity and the codependency. And they want to be that type of person, but be in a relationship with someone who freed themselves from being in that energy and is in a relationship with them because of these things of the world that they have. Well, that's an injustice, right? You haven't freed yourself to invest in love, but you want me to be in a relationship with you, but I did free myself to do love. That's an injustice. And at any given moment in time, it's like a more transactional relationship. Well, I have this and you have that. We should be in a relationship. We would look like our dreams have come into reality. It's like, but you're kind of shadowy and you have a loving person in your life. I'm a loving person and I have a shadowy person in my life. Like they're getting the better end of the deal. And they, of course, think that's just and fair. And that could be how they view life and how they view relationships. And some other people are like, no, I'm going to go find people who are invested in love, who don't think because they have these certain status, image, resources, or persona, social cloud, or whatever, that I'm going to keep staying in a relationship with them. You can go find someone else to create this illusion with, because I've seen through the illusion. And then when you see through the illusion and you move on, then they backstab and betray you, because they certainly don't want people to think that you're this just and fair and authentic and loving person, because all they have to offer people is these things of the world, because they don't do deep, meaningful relationships. So they need to backstab you to make people think you're not who you said you were, create an illusion you're toxic, selfish, bossy, materialistic, immature, and that they're this just and fair person. And they're kind of hoping if they backstab and betray you, because you find it confusing, how did someone who I viewed as just and fair and loving, because that's what they like to present themselves as, and in a lot of ways they can be, but the reasoning behind it is selfish or self-interest, not love. And when you see the truth, then this person tries to confuse people about the truth of who you are, hide the truth about why they didn't move forward with you, because you wanted them to deal with you in truth and love, and they're not willing to do that because they have a lot of fears and insecurities about love, aligning with love, choosing love in their free will, fear of being backstabbed, don't love and believe in themselves. So then they decide, you want me to do love authentically? No. I will go find someone else who seems to be more caught up in the world or is more on the same page as me, might be willing to move forward with me in a relationship out of their own fear or insecurity, and we'll just live more from our mind than our heart. And if they find someone who lives their life more like that, or is willing to indulge them for those things of the world, they just might be hiding. It's really not love, because the Chariot is Cancer energy of love. It's really not a relationship based on love. It's more a relationship based on In Libra Taurus philosophy of life, it's more about status, image, being in a relationship out of fear, out of insecurity, not loving and believing in yourself. And until those people or any of those people see through the illusion, they'll keep moving forward. Maybe they just feel overwhelmed. And in order to not feel overwhelmed, instead of doing this work within themselves, they decide, I know, I'll get in a relationship with this person and move forward. And, it's one thing to want to be in relationship with people because it can help us feel more stable and balanced and whatever. It's another thing to get in a romantic relationship with someone. We have friends and family members and workplaces and things we can go enjoy in our life to help us maintain being inspired, books, movies, music, to help us feel more stable and grounded and balanced within ourselves without getting in a relationship that isn't aligned with our truth to try to make us feel better, But some people, when they don't want to see the truth, they're going to get themselves in some relationships that with other people that are in their own shadow nature, who could be hiding that they're more about themselves or bossy or controlling or more about money and materialism. And, it's kind of like when they have to end up being in a relationship with someone who's more like themselves, it might be the thing. If they thought, I can just live more from my mind than my heart, love isn't important, the most important thing is ego or image or status, then it's like, why do I feel so overwhelmed? Why do I feel heartbroken? I don't get it. I thought for sure this was the answer to all my problems, or indulging in these things of the world that I look to make me feel better. Why do I feel so emotionally out of balance? I have all these things of the world, or indulging in all these things of the world that I thought was my truth and would make me feel better and make me feel like I got justice in the world. But they're completely emotionally unstable. It's like people looking to drugs or alcohol or getting in a relationship to be the answer to their problems of feeling overwhelmed and heartbroken. Getting into another romantic relationship is not the answer. Like, I just need to find someone to love me. It's like, but if you haven't learned to love yourself, if you find someone who's loving, eventually those people might move on because you haven't learned to love yourself. Or you're going to get in relationships with people who are in that same energy and nobody's really learned to love themselves, and everybody could be kind of more defensive and overwhelmed, and everybody's indulging in more immature energy, and it doesn't grow. It doesn't, it keeps not turning out the way we want, and then we're like, why didn't that work? I thought this was supposed to work. And at any given moment, if people are in more shadowy energy, they're always going to have more high vibrational people in their life that had wanted to move forward in a victory with them because they had love for them. But eventually those people no longer view this, because the Chariot is about kind of moving forward in something victoriously. Eventually the high vibe people in their life see that this isn't moving forward in an emotionally balanced, loving way, and they can't change other people. You can put in as much work and effort as you want, but until those people decide to change or want to live their life that way, they're not going to. And then that's when people realize the truth, and they could have more high vibrational people leave their life if they keep like, no, it has to be my way or the highway. If I indulge my more superficial, shallow nature, people are supposed to want to be in a relationship with me. It's like, you're superficial and shallow. If you're hiding, you have these shadowy traits or characteristics, and you don't want to admit the truth, or you backstab the truth, or you're not aligned with love, other people are going to move away and not want to work with them. But some people, it's kind of like an addiction. It gets worse and worse. They buy in to their own illusion of who they are. Oh no, I'm this certain type of person, and blah, 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 blah. And look at me, and look at what I have, or whatever. And it's like, there's no substance to it. it's all trying to kind of manipulate people and not based on truth and love. And, you know, again, you can hide the truth from some of the people some of the time, but you can't hide the truth from all the people all the time. And other people have intuition. Other people look at life from a higher perspective. Other people aren't as consumed by the things that they're consumed by. Other people do learn lessons and get more balance within themselves and treat other people in a more just and fair manner, where maybe in the past people, you know, were more immature and weren't. But as they take responsibility and grow up and mature themselves, they don't want to hang around other people who are necessarily not doing that, you know. It's kind of like grow up or hang out with people who are more on the same page as you, because we're not on the same page anymore. And the high vibe people would always be people who are wishing we need more healed people in the world. So they wish them peace and love, and they also wish them peace and love because the energy of love is what frees us from being in our ego about it. It's like, you know, you do you, you go live your life the way you want. Everybody's got free will. I just choose to invest in people who I think do take more responsibility in their life, who are more authentic, who aren't trying to hide. You know, we've all been fallible human beings. High vibe people are willing to illuminate the truth of the lessons they had to learn. And some people are like, no, I have to have this picture perfect thing. I couldn't have taken action out of fear or insecurity or immaturity. I can't admit I'm a fallible human being. It's like, well, then how about you go hang out with the other people in the world who are infallible human beings? And I'll go hang out with the people who have learned lessons in life and are willing to admit that they made mistakes in life and they learned and grew and matured from it. You know, so there you go, Libra energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.